Last time we met on State of the Celtics, we were talking about the upcoming Clippers game. Since then, the Celtics have played 5 games at home. They're on a little 5-game home stretch there. They still got a couple of home games coming up as well. They ended up losing to the Clippers, but they're 3-2 in their last 5, and they have the Hawks and the Wizards coming up at home for the last 2 home games. Thoughts, gentlemen? Coach Matt, Coach Brendan, welcome.
Thanks for having me on. Not to toot my own horn, but I did say that the Clippers were a wagon, and I think that they would pose a threat to the Celtics. I did say I don't think they could beat them 4 times in a series. I don't think anybody truly could. I think, like Coach Brendan has said before, it would be the Celtics beating themselves to lose 4 games. But that Clippers game, that was a statement. That was a big-time just watch out for the league about the Clippers, because I think everybody thinks that they're little brother, obviously, of the Lakers. You see this year, they beat the Heat. They beat the Heat, I believe, last night. So they're going around the league showing that they're one of the top dogs, and for good reason. They're a good team, good chemistry, good all-around play out of them.
So to your point, they did end up beating the Heat, but they beat the Hawks Monday.
Yeah.
So, the Hawks aren't.
Hawks schmucks.
They're always trouble in the playoffs for some reason, but I don't know.
Yeah, the Hawks are always imploding. I feel like they just can't get a grip on defense ever. DeJounte Murray, Trae Young, those guys. Who'd they get? Clint Capella. Mm-hmm. That's a piece that I'd like to have on the Celtics, but they're just a top-heavy team. They don't play any defense. The Celtics should dominate them. But as I was talking about, I remember a good coach will take Jaylen Brown out of the game. And he was 4 for 13 or something in that game. He shot 20%. He had 8 points in 30 minutes. That's Tyronn Lue. That's a defensive team taking Jaylen Brown out of the conversation.
Yeah.
Just you see these teams, like you always say, these veteran coaches that know what they're doing, they always neutralize Jaylen Brown. And you can't expect Derek White to get 20, 25 points every game. Drew Holiday's not that guy either. So it's up to Tatum, and I would honestly say Porzingis, and Jaylen Brown is kind of the X factor in this whole, I would say the whole league. Because if he's playing good, nobody's going to beat him. I'd say more than 1 or 2 times in a series. But if he's struggling like he did at times last postseason, they could get beat. You'll see a tougher-willed team to be able to beat them. So we'll see. I'm hoping for big things, though. I'm not too discouraged by the 3-2 in the last 5 games.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. They had 2. They had a good bounce back win against the Pelicans.
Yeah.
And then it was on a back-to-back against the Pacers. They ended up beating the Pacers as well. And that was on last Tuesday. And then they came back Thursday and ended up losing to the other LA team at home. Yeah. So they're 0-2 against the LA team at home in this 5-game stretch, 7-game home stretch. But like you said, I'm not too worried. I'm not too concerned. I don't think the Lakers are going to be the team that we'd have to worry about in the NBA Finals. Yeah.
Especially, I think the road to the finals will obviously go through them. But I also think that it is the Western Conference teams that are giving them trouble at home. I believe all 3 games they've lost at home have been against the Nuggets, the Clippers, and the Lakers.
Yep.
Western Conference.
All Western Conference teams. 2 out of the top teams, though. So they only lost the Nuggets by 2. The Clippers manhandled them.
Yeah.
And then the Lakers, I don't know what happened that game, but I think they're basically just trying to get geared up for the playoffs. They're not really looking at these regular season games. Nothing's really a challenge. They know what's going to lie ahead, and they know that they're going to have to bring their A game in the playoffs.
I think Missoula can run some beautiful offenses, and a lot of the crumblings in the fourth quarter are not on him. You talked about this before. But when it comes to adjustments in a game, they're non-existent. He lives and dies by the analytics. Like the Lions, it got them really far, but they went all in on analytics. Tampa Bay,
Yeah.
Arizona, Arizona Diamondbacks. The Boston Celtics were playing the Los Angeles Lakers without their 2-star players, no center, and then they took 47 3-pointers.
Yeah.
And they couldn't hit them, You have no center. You have Porzingis. You have Horford. You have Keita. They're in the talks to go get Andre Drummond now. They can dominate in the post, but they refuse to attack.
Even like you say about Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
He's one of the
huge post guard.
Yeah, like
monster on the block.
Why aren't they using these guys in their best roles, or even if they're having a bad shooting night? Why don't you go inside more and all of a sudden maybe get some foul calls, get some free points essentially?
We talked about the Golden State game. Stephen Curry, 5 fouls.
Yeah.
Attack him, take him out of the game in the third quarter. They never did. They just kept shooting it. They live and die on the 3, and that's just how it's going to be. And it drives me insane. But the philosophy is if you shoot it this well, you might have some bad games where you won't shoot it as well, but the way it goes is the analytics just show it never changes. Like this is your percentage. You won't have 4 bad shooting nights in a series. You'll have 3.
Yeah.
But then it's like it's easier. It's the difference between hitting a baseball when it's bottom of the 9th, full count, versus first inning, first no outs, is a huge difference. Game 7, fourth quarter, and then game 1. The analytics don't show you that.
Especially when you have guys that don't really know how to win yet. Like Drew Holiday has won before, but I mean Jason Tatum hasn't won anything yet. Jaylen Brown hasn't won anything yet. Porzingis has been a noted loser his whole career, so I don't trust these guys in the biggest games like I would a Steph Curry or a Durant or somebody who have been there so many times.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this roster could be built for the playoffs, for the postseason, for a championship, but then you're sitting there watching, and it's like, what is Missoula doing? Like, he has a roster built to win. Like, he has the roster. Yes, they don't have the experience. They've been in the playoffs a number of times now with most of the same roster. At least they're big name guys. But it all comes down to the coaching in the end. And if the coaching can't be there for the postseason, then I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, the analytic, like you said, the analytics aren't everything. I think that if they still had Ime Udoka at the helm right now, this team is winning at least 3 championships in a row.
Okay, I think it's coaching this year. I would say other years they've had, like, the bench wasn't trusted as much last year. This year they have no excuses. The bench is seasoned now. They have a solid bench. Starting 5 is, I'd say, best in the league, probably unquestionable when healthy. It's up to the coach. And if the coach doesn't perform, or if the team doesn't perform, it's most likely due to the coaching. Because there's no other real reason for it. If there's no injuries, it's up to the coaches to figure out ways to win, especially when you're the better team in every series that you're going to play.
Look, if it's Game 7 against Denver and you lose it, that's like my only pass.
Yeah.
I think this is a foolproof roster. They made it as easy as possible. And they're so talented. When Porzingis is in there, he unlocks Jalen and Jason so well by being on the top of the arc, being on the foul line, his passing, his dunking, his shooting. He does so much for that team. If they're healthy, there really are no excuses other than you lost to Jokic in Game 7.
So the Denver game, that was the first loss at home. They were missing Porzingis, right? Mm-hmm. Correct. And they were missing. Wasn't Holiday out that game too?
I'm not sure. I thought they were.
Holiday was in the game.
Yeah.
He was questionable going into that game.
Yes.
I don't know if Horford played.
Yeah, because it was on a back to, or I forget, but Horford, even So most teams have to like swap out a guy or two at the end of the game.
Yeah.
The Celtics can play their same starting five, offense or defense, because they have 5 guys who can defend the ball or score the ball.
Yep.
Shoot it,
Yeah.
drive it.
Yeah,
So
that.
they got
Yeah, like you said. I mean, Denver's the only pass. If the Celtics make it to the NBA championship and for whatever reason Denver doesn't, there is no. If they're completely healthy, there's no reason that they should lose that trophy. I mean, they should. I think the only team that would give them any trouble other than Denver, but like they have no excuse losing the championship to, would be the Clippers.
Yeah.
So if it's anybody but Denver, like if they go up against Denver, it's probably going 7 games. If they're going up against Clippers, it's probably going like 5 or 6 games. Anybody else, it should be a sweep. That's just my opinion. I mean, like I said, this roster is built to win at least 2-3 years in a row. So just to close out, road ahead. I know we didn't really talk about the last game they played, which was against the Grizzlies, an absolute romping. But I mean, Memphis was missing a couple of their big guys.
Yeah.
they only had like 8 guys.
So
available
there
or
really
something.
wasn't any excuse that the Celtics shouldn't have stomped all over them.
Yeah.
Road ahead, they've got the Hawks and the Wizards Wednesday and Friday at home, and then Sunday they go on the road against the Heat and the Nets. Sunday and Tuesday, then they come back. They're doing a home and home back to back against the Nets. So they come back to Boston on Wednesday to play the Nets, and then they close out February with after an 8-day. Oh well, the All-Star break goes comes in after the Nets game at home, and then they play 2 on the road against the Bulls and the Knicks, and then they come back home again to play against Philly on the 27th for the last game of February.
Trade deadline's coming up, so that'll be another video for you to look out for. We'll see what the Celtics do. They don't need their draft. Their draft is useless to them. They're really just battling a cap. They have a trade exception from the Grant Williams trade that they can use. I think it's $15 million. So maybe they take advantage of that. Andre Drummond, Gordon Hayward on the buyout, and Kelly Olynyk are names to keep your eyes out for. So thank you for watching.
Really? Bring back a couple.
Kelly Olynyk buyout return.
Okay. All right.
Keep your eyes
Return
out.
to the moon.
So
Okay.
thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. And we'll talk to you soon.
Come back Thursday to check out State of the Bruins.